Yo, this is part 2 to what if Goku was betrayed 18 plus. Now, hold on, give me a second. Okay, I'm back. Just had something I need to take care of. So, last version I told you he fought 4 angels. He does, but it goes a little differently. So here's how the fight goes. Just give me a second. The way the fight goes is like this. They threaten Goku, Goku says, bring it. They throw a punch at Goku, Goku sends them flying. And he doesn't have a staff, which I'll show you basically how the angels fight will go. I don't have any video of what it would look like, but just one punch and Goku sending them flying. Okay, so these are the angels. Goku fights this one at the end. This one, basically this one with the real chubby. These two. These 4. This 5. So he fights 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 angels that are going after him. The only ones that aren't are Whis, these 2, and Vados. And if you're wondering why they aren't going after Goku, because they know how strong Goku is. Well, Whis does, and the other 3 are because they have a crush on Goku. Now I know the other part didn't have any 18 plus parts, and that was because I didn't think of any. Sorry, if y'all actually watched till the end, y'all know that I had gotten a head injury yesterday. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to make it better at the end. I just was in a lot of pain. Still have the injury, but yeah, anyway, y'all aren't here to hear about what happened to me. Y'all are here to watch the what if. So let's go. So here's how the fight goes. These entire 5, which this chubby dude, he's actually one of the stronger ones. He's actually he's the 3rd strongest angel. That's from, in this version, he's the 3rd strongest angel. It goes Whis, this little short girl, because she's actually the strongest other than the Grand Priest, and then this dude. And this dude is the first one to throw a punch, and he's actually got some mad hits behind him, but it doesn't really work out on his end. Since they all can throw hits, Goku isn't even affected, since he's been able to fight Zeno and the Grand Priest like normal matches. Which he fights the Grand Priest barely. If you want to mean by barely, if that doesn't mean he can barely keep up, it means he barely fights him because the Grand Priest knows not to fight Goku. Because when they fight, one of them goes down completely exhausted. And Goku knows how to grow senzu beans, and he does. So anytime an angel or anything gets hurt in a fight, he'll actually offer them a senzu bean if he thinks they're worthy of it. Which usually that just means Whis. And Whis isn't a very strong angel in canon. He's actually one of the mid-ranking angels, right behind Vados in physical ability. But in this version, Whis is right underneath the Grand Priest, which the Grand Priest is a little bit strong, is like twice as strong as this little one, and no one can challenge like Whis other than the Grand Priest or Goku. By challenge, I mean an angel wise. This looks better. It's got all of them, even the Grand Priest, and if you'll notice, yeah, not many people can actually fight Goku in this. And when all of these angels try fighting Goku, here's how it goes. Chubby Dude tries throwing a punch. Chubby Chick tries throwing a kick. He sends both of them flying when he catches their hits. sending them flying into an arena, which I'm going to say that was created by all the Kais. They were all doing their best to create it. I know that the Grand Priest can create something, and he does, but he helps create it since they were trying to make it even stronger than the Tournament of Powers area. And basically, Zeno himself says, this won't be good. They think because Zeno's a friend of Goku's that he means that Goku's gonna get hurt. But now he's actually worried about them because Goku's strong enough to stop him when he rages. And Zeno is actually terrifying to all of them, except for Goku and the Grand Priest, since, well, Goku's a good friend of Zeno's and the Grand Priest. He takes care of Zeno, so yeah. So then these two in the back have tried throwing a punch at Goku. This one in red in the back, and this one in, well, this big one. They both try throwing a punch at Goku, and here's how as well as that goes. Goku catches both hands, and he's basically fighting them as if Whis was fighting Vegeta and Goku in, like, the beginning of Dragon Ball Super. Catching both hits and sending them flying. And they were all using Ultra Instinct except for Goku. He says, Ultra Instinct wouldn't even be needed. And they said, wait, you just can't go into it, can you? The Grand Priest said, don't threaten him. They think this is just because they're friends now or something, but they really don't care. But they keep trying to fight Goku, and boy in yellow with the long hair throws a punch at Goku's face. Goku turns his head saying, was that really all you had? Which he tanks that hit on purpose because he just wants to show how weak the Angels are in comparison to him. And then this fight goes on for a solid hour. If you're wondering why Goku is not, if you're wondering how they're all doing, all the Angels are fine and Goku's absolutely unscratched. Every hit he takes is like nothing, and all of them haven't even taken a punch from Goku. They think they're just beating on him and all he has is durability. Nope. He's got more attack than they can ever account for. He throws one punch, and it injures, the chubby dude. Yeah, this one. This chubby girl actually wound up getting sent flying by it, because he sent this little dude after getting injured. Hold up. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, something happened with my phone. Give me a second, I found something better. Okay, I'm back. I just had to do this because it looks funny to me. So these are the names of the angels and what they mean. Cultivados, Vados, Cocktail, Cockatail, Coney, Conic, Camperi, Campara, Sorry, Cocktail, Soda, Amina, Minua, or whatever. Now the one I find to be the best, I'll show you all at the end. Meriting, Mari, Margria, Markia, Kusu, Old Sake, Kusu. Same exact spelling. Jito, Mito. Kernbrand, corn. And then my favorite one, Whis, whiskey. Okay, so I found a better picture of what Goku looks like. This is actually what he looks like now, since he has to have the whole ring thing that I said he had. A halo. And he absolutely destroys them, and then he goes, this is going to be an 18 plus part, and I'll put in the description what time, I think, when the 18 plus part starts and ends. So it starts at 9:50. Okay, so Goku's done training. Basically, that's what he calls training, which was absolutely destroying multiple angels. And he goes to his home, which he actually has a home. which I'm not sure which universe it should be in, or if it's even supposed to be a part of the palace. I'm gonna say it's part of the palace. He has his own room in the palace that's soundproof perfectly. Vados and those other two angels went with Goku. Give me a sec. These three. And if you're wondering how long it took me to find this picture, don't ask, just don't. It took me too long. And here's how it goes. He goes into his room, and these three, all three of them, go with Goku. He knows that they're there, and they actually make it to his room before him. If you're wondering how, it's because he just had to just went to the shower. I'm going to say that they have a shower room or whatever after his workout. So, yeah, that's all he calls fighting multiple angels, a workout. Now, fighting the Grand Priest would be training. That doesn't count as training since it wasn't giving him much other than a good sweat. If you're wondering why he even started sweating, was because, well, he was going into forms that he probably shouldn't have. He was holding Ultra Instinct as if it was his base form. After showing off that he could use it, he did the whole fight. And all he did was dodge. That's all he did for a solid 4 hours. And that's when he started fighting seriously. Okay, so anyway, he goes to his room. He knows that they're going to be there. And so is Kale and Caulifla. For plot convenience. So, I don't like talking about this kind of part, but people want to see it, so I'm doing it. So, he goes in there, and it's just basically called his harem. They're basically his harem. And here's how it goes for Goku. He's like, "What are y'all doing here?" And they said, "You know what?" And he's just like, dang it. Fine. And the Grand Priest sent Goku a telepathic message, which the Grand Priest knew what was going to happen. He was not very happy that it was going to happen because fathers are pretty protective, but he says they're grown, so he can't stop them. He says he didn't want grandchildren yet, and if he got grandchildren he would probably punch Goku. Goku said, "Noted, but it's not going to be the easiest thing to do." And he said, "Fine. Then prepare for a fight in about 2 months." Which, yes, the Grand Priest said this because he knows him and Goku's fighting would be about an even punch to punch to punch. So he's been going to be training for 2 months. And I'm going to say that he has a form called Slick, which I'm getting this from Slick Goku. It's not really something I'm thinking about, but I'm going to say that he's got the Slick. It's called a Slick transformation, which he can add to any of his forms without it changing the multiplier at all. But it does change a little bit of things. His personality is let loose. He doesn't seem all Goku-y. He seems more, I don't care kind of thing. And Goku, he starts clapping them cheeks. And if you're wondering if he's kind of a lolly kind of guy since the small one right in front of Goku, no, he's not, but she is actually one of them, and he just says, okay. He has to keep it in his mind how old she is, though, since she's actually one of the oldest. She's actually the oldest daughter of the Grand Priest, so he acknowledges her age. That's why he's allowing this to happen. And Goku, he is just clapping cheeks for a solid 20 minutes. If you're wondering, isn't that a short amount of time? Yes. But I'm making it where he's going one after another. All 5 girls. And there is something weird that's happening. The Grand Priest does a like mental speaking to Goku saying, "We're going to need your help in about 2 days. There's a powerful being that we cannot destroy on its own. We must stop it." Goku says, "Okay, but I'm in the middle of something right now." It's like, fine. And for the next 2 days before this fighting is supposed to happen, Goku is just with these 5 girls. And he only ever stops to eat, and that's about it. And after a solid time, which he is thoroughly exhausted after this, and I'm not going to go into any detail unless, like, for part 3 y'all want me to go into detail. All I'm going to say is that he claps cheeks repetitively. And, he, comes in them. And slick form, the reason I brought that up then was because that's what it does. It stops them from coming. And, him from having any ability to get them pregnant, which is why I'm going to say he said that he used slick form, which basically makes it where you can't get STDs and he can't get a girl pregnant. That's the only thing it does. And when he's done, he says, "How long do I have left?" He talks to the Grand Priest. He says, "You have 5 minutes. Get ready." And Goku says, "Well, I was expecting to get a little more training in, but okay." So basically he says, "I basically just did stamina training for a solid 2 days in his head." And then he gets ready for a fight, which, if you're wondering, he will not be wearing his Grand Priest clothes since the fight is going to happen in a different sort. And if you're wondering why couldn't Grand Zeno just destroy this, it's because Grand Zeno is the threat. If you're wondering what I mean, and if Goku's going to betray Grand Zeno, no. Grand Zeno just has routine things that happen every now and again, where he accidentally goes berserk. He knows when they're going to happen, and he can tell when they're going to happen, so usually he's nowhere near anyone, but it still shakes the universe. And they know that this is going to be the worst one yet, since it could possibly destroy the multiverse, and the only people who have ever been able to tank a punch from him in this form was the Grand Priest, and that's it. And Zeno's guard. So here's how that goes. Goku arrives, and he's just wearing the pants, and they're asking, "Why aren't you wearing the shirt of the priests?" And Goku says, "Because I didn't want to destroy it." They said, "We can make infinite of those, don't worry." He says, "I know, but really, I'm just not a big fan of it. And the forms I go into tend to destroy a lot of the clothes I wear." They say, "Okay, whatever," and he goes into Super Saiyan. And the Grand Priest, and that 5 minutes, Goku used that all of that 5 minutes, to take a shower, and he grabbed some food. And if you're wondering, wouldn't it take Goku a lot longer to shower and grab food? No, it takes him about 20 seconds to shower because of super speed, and grabbing food takes him 4 minutes. So he has a couple seconds left till he has to be on the other side of the palace, which, if you're wondering if he can make it in 40 seconds without using instant transmission, he could, but he does instant transmissions there with lack of caring. And he had grabbed a sensu bean, because he actually did use a lot of energy. And then Goku and then there was a virtual thing saying that they needed all the angels to be there too, but Vados and the other two are saying, "Don't think we'll be able to make it." Goku said, dang. Because they said, well, then I guess Goku has to do a lot more than he was expecting. The other angels, if you're wondering, since Goku could defeat the other angels all together, that really even matter? Well, technically, yes. And Whis says, last time, we were accounting for all this and we all got taken down. This time, some of us are stronger. The Grand Priest said, "Don't act like you're untouchable. And Whis knows that him and the Grand Priest are about so-so in physical ability compared to each other. What do I mean by so-so? I mean, the Grand Priest could take a punch from Whis, and Whis could take a punch from the Grand Priest with full strength. And they would be about pretty similar in strength. Basically, if you're wondering if Whis is going to become another Grand Priest, he's not, but he could if he wanted to. Forget. I'm gonna say that Universe 7 gets that other angel, that little one. I forgot his name. The one that was with the Galaxy Patrol. He's actually no longer in training. He can actually become the angel of a universe, and he's stronger than some of the other angels. Sorry about that, guys. He's stronger than some of the other angels, so it'd be fine if he actually did. So, here's how the fight goes when Zeno goes berserk for a time. They ask how long Goku asks how long he goes berserk for. The Grand Priest says 2 days. Goku blinks and saying, "What?" Goku saying, "I have an idea on where we should go." And they ask, "Where?" So Goku grabs all of them right before Zeno is about to go berserk, and instant transmissions to Universe 7. And they're like, "Wouldn't this destroy the universe? Shouldn't this not be the place we need to go?" And then Goku says, "Everyone in the chamber," and they said, "Okay." And they're just listening to Goku because he's strong, and Zeno's guard, they're listening to Goku as well because they don't want to get hurt. Because they know that the Grand Priest is stronger than them. Goku's as strong as the Grand Priest. And their Grand Priest in training is actually equivalent to their strength. Zeno's guard is actually equivalent to Whis. Yeah. So they all go in there, and and Vados, and these other two, they won't be able to go in, but they will be able to get there soon. And I'm going to say that Goku actually had used something, and he says, right before we go in, he says, "Turn this Namekian's ability to its max," and saying, "What?" He said, "Give this man about the power of a god," and saying, "Okay." They power up Dinde so that the place can actually hold their strength. And if you're wondering if they really have to power him up that much, yes they do. Because of how powerful they all are. Now, Dinde's actually now at this point stronger than Vegeta. And that is because of how much energy it would take for him to use. It basically doesn't scratch anything for him to hold some, Vegeta's strength in when he was before this. I'm going to say it's directly connected to his strength, how much the place can take. But now, it's basically impenetrable unless Goku was all out trying to go Kamehameha at it. And Destroyer Key does work, but it wouldn't really it would take a lot of it. So, they all go in there, and these three actually arrive. They weren't expecting to get there so fast. But Goku, really quick, instant transmissions, they're all ready, and he has transmissions back with them. And the Grand Priest is saying it took you long enough, which... Hold on. Okay, guys, I'm back. I just had something I need to take care of. So, the fight goes as followed. Zeno absolutely destroys everyone except for the guard, Whis, the Grand Priest, and Goku. If you're wondering if those three who are in the picture with Goku are alright. They are, since they weren't allowed in because their power was weaker than it should have been. And Goku noticed that they had been weakened a lot because they hadn't, they were, it's because of what they were doing the whole time that they were weaker. Sorry about that, guys. They were exhausted, that's why they were not allowed. Goku was weaker, but nothing major, since all he did was lose a lot of stamina. And he ate a senzu bean. Well, he gave them senzu beans. It healed them up. They're not tired at that point, but they are still pretty fatigued. Because it doesn't really erase fatigue. It just makes your body a lot better feeling, but it doesn't erase the fatigue. So, like Goku, he straight up just says, with a pop in his neck, this won't take long. A couple hours later, Goku walks out and saying, you said it was just 2 days. Yes, that was with all of us trying to seal him with angel power. Sealing that? Yes, your attempt was to calm it completely. We've been sealing it. Yours was a lot more effective. And I'm going to say that Goku said, no, mine was more effective. I'm not sealing anything away and making it powerful. More powerful. They said, good point. And Goku absolutely rips this dude apart with physical ability. He's stronger than like Zeno, but Zeno was hitting him with Destroyer Ki. So he actually got put in a Hakai accidentally, and he actually got sent into the realm of Hakai, which is actually just an exact amount of everything, like powerful, trying to suck up all the energy it can. The Hakai place basically absorbs all things and destroys it. Doesn't matter what you are, it won't work. But not Goku. Goku shows his godly power and sends the Hakai backwards. If you're wondering how powerful Hakais are, they're powerful enough to send most people flying and destroy them. Even gods of destruction can barely handle using, when they first get Hakai, the ability to Hakai people, they have trouble using it without using a lot of their training, because it's a straining thing. While it is a manifestation of themselves and their power, using Hakai is very difficult on everyone who tries using it. Now, Beerus doesn't have as much trouble using Hakai, being that he is a god of destruction. If a mere mortal were to try it, they would probably die. But Goku is no mere mortal. And when he gets hit by Hakai, he literally says, not enough. And he basically tries Hakaiing the Hakai, which is enough to send the thing flying back, because it says this one can use Hakai too, so I'm not trying to deal with that. And Goku just says, no problem. And then his physical strength is at full power. Hold on a second. So, anyway, Goku and Zeno start fighting it out, and then everyone else exits the time chamber. And they asked how long they had been in there. They said, you here? A couple hours. They said, it feels like we've been in there for months. That's right, Goku's been fighting for months. And then, once the full 24 hours are up, so he's been in there with Zeno for 1 year. They walk out. Goku, completely exhausted. While Zeno, he's completely calm. But he's also exhausted since that took a lot out of him. So, that was What If Goku. Oh man, there's only been 30 minutes. Okay, I guess I can go into a little more detail. And if you're wondering how Goku's even allowed in Universe 7, it's because no one's gonna try stopping him. Whis is with him. And he's the Grand Priest, so he ranks so much above Beerus that he can literally just say, bow to my feet. and Beerus would have to do it without any questions. And yes, if you're wondering about Kale and Caulifla, they were returned to Universe 6 after they recovered, which took about 2 days to recover, for them to recover. And they're all exhausted, but Goku, he's the only one who's really exhausted, since he was pretty exhausted when he went in there. He came out, he was drained. He hit the floor when he walked out. But these three who were in the picture with Goku caught him on the same sides and in front in the same way, only they were catching him, and their staffs, they basically used their staffs to hold him up. And they said, we have to get him back to his room. And then saying, let the man rest. And you hear, we are getting him there. And they know that without Goku's instant transmission, it'll take about a couple hours for them to get there. So Kale and Caulifla at this point were returned to Universe 6, but Goku was not. Sorry about that, guys. So, Goku is completely exhausted, and he spends a solid month outside of the hyperbolic time chamber, exhausted. And they said, and Grand Zeno was the one who took care of him? Hold up a second, guys. Okay, I'm back. Grand Zeno was the one who had to take care of him because of how much energy loss Goku had. And because, well, all the others were trying to take care of him, some of the angels had beef with Goku, and Whis tried taking care of Goku, but Goku accidentally hit him with a powerful punch that sent him flying. Because he wasn't really injured, but he was pretty injured at the same time. He had to fight Hakai, which is the legendary thing that not even the gods have stopped before. And he had to fight Zeno, the master of the god of absolute destruction. So after the end of that, Goku being completely exhausted was just there. He was in his room and he said, does this ever get any easier? And they said, yes, eventually it will get easier. Oh, and by the way, sorry I couldn't put the timestamps in. I just had trouble doing that. So my apologies. And here's how it goes. Goku is completely tired, but he still can get up. He was beyond exhaustion before. Now he's just exhausted. And if you're wondering what beyond exhaustion is, it's like if you run and you're used to running for a solid 20 seconds, and you try running for 2 hours, he's that exhausted. And not just try running for 2 hours, run for a solid 2 hours. He's so exhausted that he is coughing up blood because of how tired he is. If you're wondering if he's injured, a little bit since he got hit in the stomach with Hakai. So, yeah. But Goku walks out and he is completely done. And he says, do you always have to deal with that much power? They said yes, but usually we seal it. And it's just like, oh, yeah, remember that now. And Kale, Caulifla, Vados, and these other two were taking care of anything Goku needed them to do. They basically listened to Goku for that time. And for that solid month, all the angels were told they didn't have work to just take care of their gods of destruction, but Whis said, mine's taking a nap, I don't care. And just didn't care, so he actually started working with was taking care of Goku and Kaba. And I'm going to say that Kaba was actually there helping taking care of Goku because he was one of the only people who could take a punch from Goku. If you're wondering, how can Kaba take a punch from Goku if Beerus couldn't even do it? That's because Goku enhanced Kaba's ability to match his own Super Saiyan 4 Ultra Instinct version. So he's able to use all these versions Goku can, and he's offered to become a god of destruction because of how useless his god of destruction was. He says he would not accept. They ask why. He said because he wants to actually become like Goku, among the angels, not a god of destruction. They say, good point, and they said, besides, what about Universe 7? They need a god of destruction too, since one that sleeps all the time is pretty much useless. And anyone from their universe doesn't seem like a good match. And then they hear, there is someone, and they say, who though? And they notice that Goku has a smirk on his face while he's saying this. They turn their head to say, they hear what he says. He says, Gohan. And they said, isn't that your son? He said, yes. But he's one of the people who got me sent off the planet, so I'll see if he allows it. And he actually walks onto Earth and sets a power key without God key above about as strong as it was before he left. And they all go to it saying, what are you doing here? Weren't you banished? And he's just wearing his normal gi. He didn't destroy it or anything. He was just hiding that he had it. And his gi, and they're just confused on why he's wearing his gi, saying, you're not even a member of the Turtle School anymore. What are you doing here? Goku says, I created the Turtle School. Man, I was the first student. You ain't doing nothing without me. And they're actually very confused on why he thinks he created the Turtle School. He says, because I am the one who actually chose to be assisting this old man. He points at Roshi and saying, I actually had a question for some of you. He says, Gohan, how would you like to become the god of destruction for Universe 7? And he says, there's already a god of destruction. It's Beerus. Goku saying, not for long. They need a replacement, and they need someone who's actually a good person, unlike Beerus and Vegeta. Gohan saying, what happens if I don't accept? Goku saying, well, then the others will decide your fate. Saying, the Z Fighters? He says, no. The gods of destruction. He says, and then he actually accepts and said, he'll take care of his family, but he will become god of destruction. Goku says, good, you're actually more of a thorough god. They disconnect Beerus and that give Gohan God Key. I need you to go home what being a god truly is. Now Goten, he's actually his first thing when he senses his dad's power level, he blitzes over to Goku saying, "You're home. Where were you?" And he said, "Y'all didn't tell him." He senses that this is the truth, that he doesn't know what's happening, and saying, "Y'all didn't tell him." Since Goten and Trunks were off playing and flying around. And I'm gonna say Gohan didn't really accept that this was gonna happen. He said, I don't think it's a good idea. Neither did Whis, but they weren't going to be, since Whis was forced to follow a god of destruction's rule, unless it was unnecessary destruction, and Gohan was told what was gonna happen by his mom. So yeah. And Gohan knew he wasn't strong enough to challenge Vegeta, since his mom said, if you want to go with him, if you want, you can then go with him, but you'll be out of the universe, and you'll never be able to see your daughter again. Which just basically was an ultimatum, so he said fine. And he actually now is the god of destruction for Universe 7, while Kaba is the god of destruction for Universe 6, and I'm going to say Goten he became the god of destruction for the universe with the clown. Actually, I think that I'm not really sure, but I think yeah, that's the one with Jiren and Dopo's trying to become the god of destruction. So I'm not going to say that one, but the one with the mouse, the one that has the mouse god of destruction. Yeah, he becomes that one. And if you're wondering what they think what do they think of Goku having 5 wives? No, they just like, okay, we have no problem with it, since they know. And Goku, they know him as a dad, but they will call him Grand Priest, same way that the angels call their dad the Grand Priest the whole time. And no one dare challenge Goku. So that was part 2. I'll get into part 3 about their godly lives if y'all want, and I'll keep going on the series. But y'all should know I'm just basically making this stuff up as I go along. That was part 2. Later, my Slick Kingdom. Your Slick King, out.